Oh,
As we could just schedule that, and if he's not available, then we'll just postpone that to next month. Okay. Should be a quick meeting.
I'll redo it after the meeting today.
Mhm. Almost.
Josh is here.
I made it.
Oh, there, oh, Rick is here.
Yeah,
And that Rick is missing, but he's here.
no, Rick was hiding over there,
I
so,
see that. Okay.
all righty. So we have 7 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. First order is the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome. Next is the consent agenda, the minutes and the bills. There is an additional list of bills totaling $28.85. All general fund items.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda with additional bills.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Do we have someone in attendance on Zoom?
No.
Okay. I'll call a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried. Open session first, citizens' questions and comments. Do we have anyone attending the meeting virtually?
I see no other participants besides ourselves.
Okay. Now, if they want to comment, are they required to register for a comment? Or can they just log on and say, well, I've got a question?
We're kind of in uncharted territory for us at that point, but it does say in the agenda that was sent out that the village president will recognize anyone wishing to talk at the
Right.
appropriate time and ask you to make comments. Might be something that the tech committee should address as far as a policy
Yeah.
for remote.
Citizens, public comments and questions, yeah. Be nice to bring that into a little more orderly fashion.
Other communities, I believe, you email your participation ahead of time.
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So,
All righty. Okay, hearing
Colleen,
no,
did you want to say something? Colleen,
No other public comment?
did you want to say something? Now would be the time if you wanted to say something. This is public comment. Did you want to say something? It's not on the agenda?
I'll go up there with you.
We can bring the microphone to you if you'd like. It's just for the remote session, because it's the only way that anybody that's not in the room should hear it. And it helps us hear you.
I just want to say that I think the police officers need to be more observant in our town. We have a lot of cars that go really fast on different roads. And like I live on state roads And there are times it's like a racetrack. A lot of kids are going really fast. I know on Milwaukee Street, they go really fast too. I don't know if you guys can do anything, but it was brought up on Facebook that someone should go to the village board and say something. So that's what I'm doing.
Thank you.
Yes,
That's awesome.
thank you.
I just think it should be more noticed because sometimes people don't speak up, but they really do go fast around here. Should be brought up to the attention.
Do they use that part of St. Rose for like a turnaround?
But
Do they use that for like a turnaround? Like there's turnarounds in a village or a city where you do laps and then you,
It's like by the firehouse,
uh,
and then they'll like go down St. Rose and then three go up on Wilson,
mhm.
kind of go around it.
Yeah, like a turnaround.
It just seems like it's a racetrack at times. So I'm just bringing it to the attention.
Yeah, as our Marshall had mentioned, the last couple of meetings that they've been, a lot of events going on where our marshals, our deputies are all part-time. There's been events going on and things happening in the municipalities that have been using more of their time. And they have basically been doing a bit fewer hours in Fredonia. So that may have something to do with it. I don't know. Seems like they know when the cops are here, so they behave, and when they're
Well,
not
they
here.
know when the cops are here, so they can see the
Yeah,
cop out there.
Well, that's an unacceptable excuse.
Mhm.
But
I mean, we've-
that's what
Right.
happens.
We have village marshal here.
There's a lot of little kids on bikes. and
Well,
stuff.
I know, I'm just, you're here, so I mean, if there's any.
I'm just bringing it to your attention.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Well, the main factor in that is we're here somewhere between 65 and 75 dollars a week. That's it. There's usually only one guy here at a time. We spend most of our time running traffic. That is radar. We hit Milwaukee Street. We hit Market. We hit Milwaukee. We hit Fredonia Ave. We hit 57. We try to hit them all in the course of those 4 or 5 hours that the guys work at crack. To be honest with you, I've been here 15 years. I've never run a radar on Safe Road because there's never been an issue. And the road that goes to Woolworth, can't get anywhere there except at all. So
They go through the stop sign.
I'm not arguing. I'm simply saying that I would stand up and tell anybody that we do the best we can when we're here. Problem is, again, we only hear somewhere between 65 and 75 dollars a week. That's not that much stuff. So we can't be everywhere at the same time. And again, particularly when we got after the crime. Put that out, we'll see if we pick some potential same goals. The ones that young lady has mentioned, Milwaukee Street, that's a common one. Has to do primarily with the industrial park. Folks who work for going. Martin will get busy here again at the end of the month. Martin, because that's what kids going back to school and parents taking their kids to school. So, that just matter of the
Well, since the budget is coming up, I suppose we could look at increasing the hours. If you could find officers to fill
Well, and that's an issue. I have to tell you that Fredonia is a slave to the full-time employees. The full-time agency has got to come first. And I say that because they authorize us to work. I have to ask permission to work here every year for my full-time agency, and they have to grant it. The only guy that does that is our one retired officer. Now, there are advantages to us hiring active police officers that are employed full-time. The primary advantage is training. They do that there, we don't have to worry about it here. That's a pretty big expense. It's a lot of time. But when the full-time agency calls, the guys pretty much have to go. And it's also an economic thing. When I worked at Portland, I got overtime. That's time and a half.
And
And I raised a family. If somebody's been off from time and a half for the regular wage, versus, $20 or $21 an hour. That's a big difference. And I'm not complaining about our wage rate. We're very well paid up here for what we do, but that's the simple fact of the matter that it has to be recognized. Not asking for more money, nothing like that. I'm just saying that has to come into play. We've got 3 guys that work for the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department has been running short all summer long. In Port Washington, we're down to 4 people. That's a huge impact on the 20-man department. So the guys that work in port are having a hard time keeping up there because they're working so many hours. This will all even out, I think, come fall. But it's we can't go through this every year, especially during the early summer. This year it's a little bit more severe because of shortages at the 2 agencies. But I think it's something.
So what you had said earlier is that you're looking at full-time positions for this area. Right?
Our guys that work here, sir, work full-time someplace else.
Correct.
I would say that we're probably 2,000 to 3,000 people away from going to full-time officers.
Yeah, 3,000.
That'll be long after I'm gone. And that's something that, I know you're relatively new to the board. When I came here, my most important goal was to make it possible for Fredonia to go full-time somewhere down the road. That would be in terms of equipment and our capabilities. That part is basically done. It's just a matter of the population rising to the point where the statute requires you to have full-time police officers, and then you can look at that. But again, that's a ways down the road.
Saco went full-time probably 4 or 5 years before they should have, and they suffered for a decade, having entered that too soon because you can't go back.
Yeah, that's true. We can't do that.
So,
But yeah, that's kind of where you're at. And hiring more guys that will go with cancer. We've got 8 that work with both. We've got the 9th one, who's my sort of admin guy. We need him. But again, we make an effort to get here. The guys make an effort to get here, put in their hours. Sometimes it just becomes version possible. So, same goes on our radar. In Milwaukee Street and Martin. And all of them, and that's, like, as I said, primarily up here, we run traffic. We don't have the volume of calls. We have report and draft. So, and that's a good thing. That gives us the time to run traffic. That's primarily.
so I would suggest that next time we have a public safety meeting, we have this item on the agenda to look into.
Understood.
Rather than do that at board meeting, it's basically a committee discussion anyhow, so. Any other questions?
Just comment, so I see you check your phone here periodically. I'm not goofing around. I'm watching for
People talking.
notifications of any Zoom participants because they made it mandatory to implement a waiting room for people to join.
Mhm.
So if somebody joins, I'll get a notification so I can let them in and see the video. So just for the record, so that's why I keep looking here. I'm not being rude. So
We're part of the bureaucracy of the added feature.
well, it's because people have hijacked Zoom
Mhm.
meetings, especially public Zoom meetings, government meetings. So Zoom implemented this so that we could control and
Yeah.
not let in those troublemakers.
We're gonna be a gatekeeper.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that's how it works. So just so everybody is aware of that feature.
Yes,
To answer your question, Ann, he's gonna take care of it, and public safety is gonna handle it from now on. And we'll address this at our next meeting, okay? But you just told him, he'll be sorry, you know, all right?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
all right. There are no other public comments. We will move on. Report from operations of village. This a little unrelated, but it's been 10 days since I've had my last cigarette.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And I'm
Need a bum one?
no. So if I see my bit scattered once in a while, it's because geez, I'd have a cigarette right now. Okay, I have other than that, nothing to report. Village Marshal.
You have my report, things that are on there. We participated in the National Night Out on Tuesday on Kingsville. We say it's all over the county, gather, it's kind of a show and tell, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Kids and families come learn about the school. So we participated in that. And I think you're all aware that the school district has a new school resource officer from the Sheriff's Department. That's a full-time position. You'll be at Mother Ozaki and at St. Rose.
Divine Savior.
And we are working together to try to figure out how to provide the best service to the schools. So we'll still do something, they'll do some things. So as we go on, just as a side note, how we're doing that is one of the marshals. That works out pretty well. Perfect.
Is he shared with another school district also?
Yeah.
Or is it just-
Done.
I'm sorry, he is, yeah, he'll travel around, but
But that's his
primary
home.
responsibility is this.
Yes,
His
that'd be his
home.
primary responsibility here in Pine City, but then he's working for, I can't remember the school, well, it's some Catholic school in Cedarburg. That's what it is, yep, and Cedar.
Yeah, Francis.
Okay.
Yep, St. Francisburg.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So he'll be around, and like I said, I think it's an absolute wonderful thing, if Sheriff's Department picked this off. We'll work together to provide the best service that we possibly can.
And we were also, St. Rose does it. We were also talking about St. John. They have you guys come up there too and absorb that also. It's just a matter of, confidence for people.
I'm sure we can do that.
I was just noticing in your
Did we
report,
get a report from
you're
Brian?
talking about hours being down.
Did we get a
but,
report from Brian?
I'm showing, I'm seeing 64 hours per week right now. Your 2021 average was 63. So you're really not, for all the troubles that you're having with staffing, you're actually doing really good.
I like to get it, so at the end of the year, we're closer to that 75, but it's been a little tough. Since I'm here. So the other thing we got going on is Dan Wolf has been out of work. So we can't, workers comp there, can't come up here. So I mean, it's been a challenging summer as far as all.
Appreciate what you do.
We do try.
Yeah.
We always get it right.
we appreciate it.
All right, any questions? All right, we'll move on. Fire chief doesn't have a report right now.
Have a good week. Have a good night.
See you later.
Good night.
Okay, we'll move on to Director of Public Works.
What's in our report, concrete contract, we moved in North Wilson Street today, it's put on string line. The plan is, start pouring on Monday, this week, I'll see the forecast. So, promises, probably Monday, Tuesday, the perfect cover for. We'll wait roughly a week, and they'll come to all the concrete approaches, and everybody's driving. Stuff in sidewalks, that's gonna be roughly a 10-day period that residents in that street will be able to drive.
Mhm.
All water would say park and governments, that's gonna be an issue.
Yeah. I think.
If the people recognize that. Find a different place. Contractor was gonna pass on notices about parking, that's gonna be try to find someone else for it.
Mhm.
So we'll do
How long will parking be an issue up there?
10 days, you said, right?
10 days?
Yeah, they have to. How long does the curb have to sit? For vehicle traffic, 2 days.
Roughly a week, and the coaches and
So you can't break
Yeah.
your name in the curb.
You're gonna slip for the sidewalk too, or is that in parts?
So, slap through new curb guard up the back. they'll wait.
Mhm,
And some days they'll do approaches and sidewalks.
okay.
That's
And then blacktop is behind that.
So hopefully-
Where is that at, Rick? Is that scheduled? Are they making a commitment to finish this road in 10 days?
They have, it's at the talk since April, but right now I can't
And
see
April.
what their schedule is. Yeah, I mean, same page with the F-43, so.
Right. Yeah. Money is-
Well, you have a lot of summer and fall left before
Yeah.
it becomes
It should
critical,
be,
so.
it should be an issue getting it done.
Summer's over again, so.
It almost seems like it.
Probably.
All right, any other questions? You got anything else? Treatment plant is spinning like a top, I guess. It has been all summer, so.
Pretty much, did get a call for today.
Do you guys do time? I mean, obviously, I'm new at this, but that's pretty much ridiculous. What I see.
Yeah, we get the contract, schedule of when this is done. So it's like, well, I see it. That's
I would recommend having these.
penalties and incentives.
Yeah.
You only have one paving contract and the bids are work, so you can piss them off. and
That's
That's
it.
what we're gonna do.
Right.
Well, no, I don't agree with that. If you take somebody off like that. They did the job. They got their money. They got their another 20 grand a month ago, and the curb hasn't been started. I don't know what's going on over there, but I'm sure that people are gonna be irate. That it's gonna be another month and a half for sure, by the time Blacktop's in there. You're pushing October. Okay.
I don't think so either.
All right, we'll see.
People are speaking. They're understanding what's going on.
Okay.
The 20 grand, that was for that piece that was done by the apartments, right?
No, it's for that, for extra. It was something like that, they're gonna tear it out instead of replacing parts,
Yeah.
they were gonna do the whole.
Mhm. Yeah, but they had given us an estimate. That's Hill Street. That's Hill Street also on the other side. That goes up the hill to Heather.
Yeah.
There we got an increase on that estimate too, isn't it? That was earlier this year. No? Right. Well, if they had employees growing on trees and they could just go pick a bunch of them, we wouldn't be having this problem. We have the same problem all over. Everybody else is too. Okay, any questions that we haven't yet? Okay, thank you, Roger. Clerk treasurer's report.
Do you have
And then
any
your
questions for
backup.
me? Things are going fairly well. Like I said, learning something new every day still. Next Thursday, I will be out of the office, so the office will be closed. Then there is 3 days at the end of the month that I will be at training or schooling, so the office will be closed then as well.
Do you have to with any other people who work at the election?
I have plenty of people to work the election. I'm doing it in 2 shifts. I have a morning shift and an afternoon shift.
Observers from the Republican or Democratic Party?
I have,
And they approve it for
I
the
have
whole year.
coworkers from the Republican Party that are required to work, and yes, they are working. Observers will just show up that day. I mean, I haven't been notified that observers will be here yet. I'm guessing they will. I had observers when I went to Forest Haven, so I will just have observers again. I feel better about this election than I did the April election, so,
Training wheels have come off.
well, April kind of freaked me out, being my first one, I'll be honest. Thank God it was just a local, small election, but feeling better this time. Hopefully it will go well.
All right, any questions of clerk? All right, the Zaki District 2 Supervisors report.
I have nothing to report at this time.
All right, we will move on. Discussion action items, motion to approve electric service installment agreement with Vanergies for Tower and Innovation Drive.
This is TID funds, right?
Documents are in your packet.
TID money? TID?
Yes. Yeah, so this is tip three. This was, we approved the scope of work last fall, but we didn't want.
Didn't want to do it.
start charging
yeah.
for the rates. So we don't know. Contractors got to do it.
Is there an increase on that amount now, or is that what they're gonna stick to?
That was the same, the same price that goes back and fall.
Yeah, we just saved ourselves, what was it, like 9,000 or something, not having to work in the winter. It was substantial. So we decided to put it off until that charge went away. Now, the refundable, is that, do they refund that on a usage basis? Like we put it in and hook it up and they're going to use it. And if they use it according to their forecast, whatever, we receive a refund on our investment. Is that how that works?
Correct, yeah. So
Okay.
essentially, if the pump goes out. Get a large portion.
All right. All right, what's the pleasure of the board on that?
Motion to approve electric service installment agreement not to exceed $25,271.59.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any questions? All right, I will call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Do we have any correspondence? We have no correspondence?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, so it's, do we need to convene in a closed session?
We could do a brief closed session just to update everybody
Update on the
where we're at.
finance committee meeting. Yeah, right. Okay.
What time is it?
7:27.
We need the motion.
Yeah. So-
Motion to remain in the closed session.
Second.
As per the agenda.
Do you want me to leave?
Okay, so the motion is to go into closed session as per the agenda. All those in favor, I will start on this side.
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carried unanimously. We are in closed session.
And we need Roger to stay. as well. You can. anyway. You were part of the other meeting. I think we'll keep it pretty brief, just to quickly.
You want to shut this whole thing off?
That's actually. pretty cool.
No, That one is not a CBRF, but Forest Haven is within 2,500 feet, a half mile of that house. I've looked at the state
I thought it was
statutes.
1,500.
No, I looked in the state statutes. And it says 2,500 feet. Okay, you may know something different, but there's a section or an ordinance, something, there's a 49 and a 50. One of them deals with, they came up with, and the CBRFs are in section 50. And I can't interpret really what the rules are. So talking with Josh, I think we should have lawyers look at that and explain if we have an issue here. And I was also wondering why the state would grant a license for that home if they already know that they granted a license for a CBRF.
Well,
Maybe it's overlooked.
rather than talking to our lawyers to read.
Well,
The
it's
licensing agency?
different than a dump family.
Would, I don't even know.
Forest Haven isn't a CBRF, though, is it?
Yes.
Isn't
Forest
it?
Haven's a CBRF.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be 2,500 from another CBRF.
2,500 feet from, that's where I'm getting lost.
And
with
a
the
dump
ordinance.
family home, it's different.
That's why I'm getting lost, and I don't understand if we have an issue or not.
My question would be, like, when you first said, how can they have this without the village okaying it? Now, if in our ordinance, that's a listed use in RS1,
Not a dump family home.
then
Yes, it.
we basically approve it just because it's a listed use. So we don't have to have a special approval. That's my understanding.
What kind of group home is it?
Sounds like it's for semi-handicapped.
Correct.
People who can like work in the community, but can't quite live
It's
on
a
their
dump
own.
family home. Used to own two of them. And the CBRF, there's in Fort Washington, our group home is maybe 1,000 feet from the other CBRF balance.
But if Port Washington allows it, that's fine.
It's a state thing, I think, and
That's what, I don't get it. Here, our RS1 homes, are permitted to have. Hmm?
I think you're right.
I think it might be 4, but permitted structure uses a foster family home, community living arrangements with a capacity for 8 or fewer persons being served by the program. Okay, you were right, Doctor. So that's, the house would be allowed to do that, but
what's the problem?
Yeah, it's,
that the neighbors are concerned, Josh knows.
Correct. I think the neighbors are concerned because they just all of a sudden showed up and started unpacking and people started coming in and they're like, what's going on here? And the neighbor brought it to my attention saying that, can this be looked into? Now that they're opposed that it's there, it's just all of a sudden, it's just like, well, doesn't this have to have village approval? Like, they're looking at it like when that person came in.
well, like that's the first time that this is happening. Well, they're only just taking up a space somebody else vacated.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's probably something new. They just want to know what's.
And there's definitely some concern there of
What type of home facility it is. right?
What are the residents? Are they?
I don't know. I've never seen them.
They haven't called the disturbance.
No, they haven't. And like I said, it was just, I was out in my driveway one day and they were like, what's going on over here? I'm like, what do you mean? Because I knew someone bought, I heard it was an investor that bought the building or the home and the house. And I'm like, I don't know.
Hearsay,
Well, it's true though, because we looked it up and
right, but, you know, you can't say investor, It's just kind of a chitter.
I understand, but it's still gotta, it was under the assumption that it
Understood.
still have to come to the planning commission or.
No,
No.
If it's a listed use, it has to be licensed by the state though, doesn't it?
Sure.
So this, he would have had to, or she would have had to go through that process and get registered and get the license approved and permits and whatnot they have to do from the
Right,
state.
there's just
But
concerns.
that's over and above and outside of the village responsibility because we approved the use.
Or what?
All kinds of concerns. I think it's a safety concern is number one. I think a lot of people are asking what about their home values in the area.
That's what's usually home
For
values.
taking care of the.
I'm just telling you, I'm not gonna get an argument. That's just what I'm telling you. There's a citizen brought it up and I brought it here. Like anyone else of us would do. I'm just relaying the information that I was given.
the
Right.
homeowner is TCG Holdings in Port Washington. And I've looked them up. If I have the right thing. It's,
This all right as long as we wrap this up before 8 o'clock? Kind of see if we get to the bottom of this and whatever, because this
We gotta
has
have a cigarette?
come up a couple of times. No.
Right, I mean, so, like I said, John looked up, it was brought to my attention, and this state statute was sent to me,
Mhm.
and I forwarded it on to John. John did some research on it. We looked at it, and it's like, I agree with John. I'd rather be safe than sorry and just have our attorneys looking at it, because it is very cumbersome and very confusing.
TCG stands for Total Care Group. Homes for developmentally. Okay, we'll put this up on the screen.
I would imagine they could possibly have different clientele in different locations.
They have to be state
Different
licensed.
categories.
Inspections are done like through the fire department.
Mhm.
They would have to have like Brian go over there or Bob Lever did ours in Wapaca and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
we had 4 residents there. But they weren't, all the neighbors were aware that, I guess you're right in the fact that neighbors should be aware of that there's a actual business there and that the people are all vetted and things like this and capable of living there without nuisance.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, like when Don Geis wanted to do a photography business at home, it was a listed use. She didn't have to come and talk to us about that. The reason why she came and talked to us because she wanted to put a sign in the front yard. So
Right.
she had to come talk to us about the sign. and whatnot. Otherwise, she could have just ran that business out of her home as something that she could do in that zoning type district, so.
Okay, so here's the Total Care Group website. Each of our adult family homes. Right, services, so it sounds like it's for semi-handicapped people.
Yeah, you can stop over there and talk to them. They
Yeah.
would love that.
So,
They could be self-sufficient and earn a living and this and that and whatever, as long as they wouldn't have to pay rent or house payments because they can't get a job to do that. So this is
Right. again,
probably a subsidy in whatever.
There's
grant
no
they-
argument about their cause, that there's not a problem with the cause. It's just all of a sudden, it's
Right.
just they.
Well,
We're here.
then, John, why don't you stop over there? Just stop over and say, hey, I'm from the village board. Why not?
I can do that, but I don't still know what the laws are, if we have to change an ordinance or
Right,
change.
correct.
I think we might have to change the zoning.
That might be a state statute that, you
The state-
want to change the ordinance to, prevent something like this.
No,
I think
I wouldn't
it's-
think so.
Well, again, I
The
don't
state
think.
statute says, agents of facility may apply for an exception to this requirement, which is the 2,500 feet. And such exceptions may be granted at the discretion of the municipality.
Mhm.
So we could grant an exception. We probably have to have a public hearing,
If they're too close to something.
which,
Which is the argument they're making.
which,
is they are
if,
too
if if the two state statutes refer to the same type of facility,
Yeah,
which I can't figure out.
I think
They don't.
to John's point, I think he just wants to make sure that we are conforming, and if we need to change an ordinance. to-
Understood. That's why we just go council. And see what's
Like,
going
you
on,
can-
find out what the business is.
yeah, like you can't have any more than 3 McDonald's in a village, but somebody could put up a KFC or something. And whatever, you know, it's that kind of minutia sometimes in that, but,
Little bit different than a
There
McDonald's,
are- yeah, when we first did our ordinances, and I know we just redid them a few years back, but we have things listed that had a different connotation and a different type of use, or less type of use, less variety than they do now. 'Cause
And it's
some of
the
those things
same,
have been-
and like you're talking, sorry for interrupting, but
Mhm.
like you're talking about what was presented up on the corner there, which is all relative
Mhm.
to what we're talking about.
Mhm.
And I understand why John and Joshua are concerned about this. But, you know, an adult family home is most certainly different than a CBRF, a community-based residential facility.
That's where the state,
Correct.
I don't know if they cross or they're separate.
No, independent and full-time care.
Which house is this? Which house?
This, 233. No, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. That.
It's 2 houses north of mine, Bill.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, 233 North Wilson.
Yeah, I got it.
And there's one actually on Milwaukee Street.
On the south.
Yeah, Heather's place.
And then there's another one up
Lawrence.
on Lawrence, yeah.
But I thought they moved
No,
out.
they-
And there's one on Hill Street too,
One on Lawrence left.
the old clinic.
Yeah, so identification of these properties, whether or not they're within a certain amount of distance of, their classification is, what you have to look to.
Mhm.
Yeah, some of the reasons is that they want to have these existing in normal type neighborhood type
Yeah.
areas. If you put
They'd like to
a
be.
big
normal
bunch of them
people.
together, that's not like in a normal neighborhood. That's where all of those people are, you know, and there's reasons for the laws rather than restricting only, you know, it's.
And they call them a community living arrangement,
Mhm.
so.
It's a commendable company, I have no doubt about that,
Yeah.
but it's just like, we didn't, you know, the sober house, that person had to go through a process.
Yeah,
And they're just wondering, why can someone?
Because it falls under.
But they don't
I
understand
believe it's 4, not 8.
yeah,
Adult family home, I believe it's 4.
So-
CBRF is 8, up to 12. So, I mean, depending on how many employees we have, so. I understand that, community might say, well, who's next door? This guy got a brain injury, is he gonna be running around the backyard? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes,
So-
it's the unknown. They use their imagination and imagine all kinds of things. This individual or this company probably is well connected with all the other, those types agencies, most of them, and fits in and deals with, and, you know, where the one for 111 wasn't plugged into anybody and had to start from scratch. So maybe a smooth transition into this is something that a lot of people in the area knew about and agreed with and helped out, but they didn't talk to the neighbors.
Here's all their locations.
So, John, you basically just want an opinion from our attorney to make sure we're in line with the law.
Yeah, and do we have to change it and say, okay, fine with us for them to be within 25 feet? Yeah, that's what I want.
That should be written. It's written.
I mean,
So-
and then I guess I would ask the attorney, how to- you're planning, so. and this is one of the questions to ask, because a lot of our zoning classifications have that permitted by right.
Uh-huh.
If you have a people or less, is that a state statute that we have to have? Where did that come from?
Right.
Yeah, and do we need to word that differently now? Do we have to have two categories or, whatever?
Okay,
Yeah.
so this,
Because if that ain't totally our discretion, then that's.
Yeah. Yeah,
all right, so this is a new thing on our agenda, so we don't have permission yet to go. So the next board meeting, we should ask permission to contact the attorney to follow up with us.
I don't expect us to cost more than a couple of hours.
No.
Right, but
My discretion.
the proper way of doing it is,
Yes.
we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting to contact the attorney.
So then all houses are zoned this way?
No, that's RS1.
I think ours too.
I don't think so.
your street is ours too, I think.
No.
No, it's RS1.
There is ours one. Oh, yes, you got the big backyards.
No, I don't believe anything else is.
So it is only ours.
Hmm? This is RS1. RS2.
Why is there such a difference, John?
The size of the lots, I think.
Yeah, size of the lot, setbacks.
Right, that's what I'm, I
Building
guess that's what
size.
I'm questioning. Yeah, I know, but I'm questioning exactly what Roger just said. He said it perfectly. It should be basically the same.
Yeah, residential home. We actually had one in Wabaca. And it was just a regular ranch house and we had 4 residents there. There was only a state certification and building inspection for that purpose. Or if you get into a CDRF, you're talking sprinkler,
That's a bigger building.
Fire alarm
That's a
system.
bigger building and everything.
pole station.
And
the whole deal.
different clientele, right?
Yep,
All right.
special, more than special.
Is this something that staff, namely Roger, could just give the attorney a buzz and ask him that question?
Well, I think John brought up a good
Or
point.
John?
We just bring it up in the next meeting.
Yeah, just get permission,
Just get
Yeah,
permission.
and then you
And
can,
we maybe
yeah,
can change our ordinances. I don't know, I have to ask them what, how they think our ordinance should be modified if necessary.
So if you pull up that, didn't you have that map pulled up, John? You just
Yeah.
had that up there. Just curious.
Here.
So like you got a couple of RS1s surrounded by, what is that, RS2?
The 3s are purple,
Okay,
RS1s are all yours. RS2s are kind of in your backyard. So it's a mix.
yeah, that's central city mix. That's, zoning is just all over the place. Anywhere you have a cast iron water main, the zoning is like,
Because you guys have large yards, which is probably why it went to RS1.
all right. Okay,
well, we'll have to talk after this, because I've got a question about what we did there with that, with Hillcrest, with laying that all out, with plotting. To change zoning, what do we do there? We did, something was passed, the overlay.
yeah,
Oh, we never changed it though.
It's never, yeah, it never got
We
approved.
never got
yeah, we would have had, we would have had to have a developer's agreement and everything all signed before we changed the zoning.
They got nothing.
We just, that was more of an MOU that if you do this, we'll do this for you. Usually nothing happens unless you got a well-written MOU.
I mean, that just seems goofy to me, because like if I'm looking down there to this health, I mean, you got that RS1 right there surrounded by what, RS3, and then there's a, what is that, M2? Towards Noyens lumber there,
Scroll
Yeah.
down a little further.
Oh, which way?
south,
South.
south.
I don't know if it's by your house.
That's over by Noyens,
Okay,
right there. You got an RS1 plopped in the middle of,
Yeah,
Well,
that's
ours
because the
too.
lot was big enough.
Three.
That's how they did zoning in
that,
that.
that's the empty,
If the lot was that flat behind your house.
yeah.
As
empty
Gilson's,
lot.
Gilson's
That-
duplex.
That, yeah, it's large enough to build a duplex on there. There used to be 3 houses there. They're torn down, and the lumber company wanted to build them. But this road here, Gilson Avenue, doesn't meet village standards. Nines can build on here if they put in new sewer and water and move the road into the ditch. They have to
Yeah, fill
acquire
up-
land, move the road, move the ditch,
okay,
and it's been that way since about like 1998.
okay.
There's a vacant lot behind me.
All right.
But all.
Are those lot lines right? I bet not.
Oh, they're within a few feet, I would.
Yeah.
They give you a good suggestion of where the property probably is.
Yeah.
Overlays like that usually aren't,
When I built my garage and the neighbor to the south built his garage, we hired a surveyor that did both properties in one shot, so it split the cost.
yeah.
And for some reason, their lot is 20 feet deeper than mine.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
It's across the board, believe me, I got a lot of money in topo stuff.
Yeah,
Like
Well, my lot was-
5 feet different.
My lot was 6 feet 9 inches deeper than all the other lots too. when
Yeah,
it
that's
came
right,
to it,
yeah.
You know,
okay, so we'll just put an agenda for next time.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you get an answer from the attorney or something, we just put it on as a report. You can let the board know.
Well, no, you gotta get approval to.
He wants it on the agenda
Agenda
for
to get
approval.
Oh, to get approval.
go
to
to
the
the
attorney. All right, we can do that.
We can't spend money, it's not an agenda item.
You can go just
Okay,
get
any
their
other-
license and see
any
what they
other,
got their
uh,
license and.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So you can send me a 10 minutes. We have to adjourn, right? The second, yeah.
You know more about this than me, Bruce.
What?
Obviously, you know more about this than me,
Well,
but I
no,
mean, but it's definitely.
certain things.
So we're gonna set up